Welcome. I didn't expect quite so many people here today, but it's so beautiful to see you all. Thank you so much for coming. For those of you that haven't been to the first one, part one of a guide for empaths navigating life with more ease and grace. An empath is a sensitive person, and no doubt because you're all here, it's likely that you're a sensitive person as well. And so it is my role, I believe, to help people just make their lives just so much easier. And so the first video, the first gathering that we had is on my website, and so I would love for you to visit the website and enjoy that video, because I feel as if it will really be helpful to you. So this is part two. This information is part two. I am a quantum hypnotherapist, and I'm a meditation teacher. I'm a master of Reiki and pranic healing, and I've been practicing healings for over 30 years. And I love every bit of it. It just nurtures my soul. So with the last session, the affirmation that I suggested to everyone to say regularly to themselves was, it is my dominant intent to love and look after me. Can you all see that?
Yeah.
It is my dominant intent to love and look after me. And so I'm hoping for those that were here last time that they've remembered to repeat that to themselves over and over, because I have found for me it just makes a real difference to my day, and I find myself making softer decisions. We have a different affirmation that's going to be introduced today that's coming soon, but all of this information is being videoed and will be available to you on my website, all free of charge, and all the information is also in my book, and I'll share with you a little bit more about that in a second. But what we're going to do is just a little healing on ourselves, which is also explained in much more detail with the first on the first session. And which is also available, as I said, on the website. So let's everybody, we're going to enjoy this healing now. And so we're going to call upon Archangel Michael and Archangel Raphael. Archangel Michael is the archangel which really takes away all negativity, and Archangel Raphael is the archangel which helps with healing and supports healers. Archangel Michael has a dark blue aura, an indigo coloured aura, and Archangel Raphael has an emerald green aura, for those who love to have colour. So thank you, Archangel Michael. So I'll say the words, but let us all experience it. Thank you, Archangel Michael, for disintegrating and removing all negative thought patterns, psychic attacks, psychic contaminations, and psychic intrusions from my body, mind, feelings that I have placed on myself and received from others now. And just imagine that all of that has been removed from yourselves. Thank you, Archangel Raphael, for healing, sealing, and energizing my wounds now. And just imagine emerald green coming through your body. Okay. So now what we're going to do is remove the psychic attacks that we have sent to other people by the way of negative thought patterns and any judgments of any kind. So calling upon Archangel Michael. Thank you, Archangel Michael, for disintegrating and removing all negative thought patterns, psychic attacks, psychic contaminations, and psychic intrusions, which I have caused and sent to others now. And I call upon Archangel Raphael. Thank you, Archangel Raphael, for healing, sealing, and energizing their wounds now. So it has to be loving all around. So the gifts that I have available to you all is free lifetime of my website, free lifetime membership of my website, and there's a bunch of free stuff in there, which of course are these 2 videos plus my book, and there's going to be other videos as well. You'll have lifetime access to the first 5 meditations of my program called Higher Communications, and they're visual guided meditations, and so you can enjoy them with your eyes open and eyes closed. They were primarily created for people who are deaf so that they can experience meditation. The video of both these gatherings and an invitation to a closed Facebook group. If you wish to ask any questions, I will be touching base on that closed Facebook group on a regular basis. So it's called Higher Communications Chat Room. So now what we're going to do is breathe in a quantum breath of allowing. So just breathe in deeply and just say in your mind, quantum breath of allowing. Quantum breath of allowing. Because we want to allow good things into our lives. And we'll be practicing breathing in the quantum breath of allowing regularly, because it's something that I would love you to do. No one needs to know about it. Just quantum breath of allowing and just enjoy. So this is a little prayer for when we commence. And so I ask for the angels and archangels to please create for us a crystalline temple of light for each of us here and for those who are interacting with the video. I invite each of our guides, our angels, masters and great beings of light to please join us. And I ask that they remove all energies which are not of the light. And for each of us, the radiant light be filled with the raised vibration for our healing, our growth and our light. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So it is my intention to share the techniques which will help with navigating your life with more ease and grace. And as I said, these techniques are all recorded in the ebook. I intend to share all I can to truly empower you. So that is my full intention, to share all I can to truly empower you. So the techniques that we will be covering today is regular quantum in-breaths of allowing, discussing empowerment for all, but starting with you, an automatic writing technique to receive answers from your higher self, and we will be creating a letter from the 12-month future you today before you go. I've got a whole bunch of question ideas to ask for automatic writing, and we will be requesting the highest possible timelines. So we will be requesting the highest possible timelines for things to happen. Sometimes we feel like things are just taking too long, and so what we will do is we'll be communicating with the Divine, asking to collapsing any timelines that are just simply not serving us. Oh. And so we're going to be allowing help from your higher self by keeping your vibrations high, and there will be techniques on how to keep your vibrations high, which means we want to feel good. And so keeping your vibrations high is your most important work. Beautiful. Quantum in-breath of allowing. So we're going to be talking about self-empowerment. So self-empowerment is accepting and loving yourself for who you are and not who you think you should be. Self-empowerment.
Sorry, Robyn, I'm just going to move that because I don't want you to knock you into it.
Sure.
I just can't pass you through.
Oh, sure.
I'm not running you over, am I?
No, not at all.
It's too late now.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's see. There we go, that's better.
Beautiful, thanks, babe. So does everybody understand the self-empowerment? Accepting and loving yourself for who you are and not who you think you should be. Does that make sense to everybody here? Yeah? And if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. And so the we empowerment is accepting and loving others for who they are and not who you want them to be. So it's accepting and loving others for who they are and not who you want them to be. Because expecting change from another only creates resistance. The only change that we must make is the one that we need to make within. And I will show you how to determine what that change is and to create the confidence for acting on it. It's worked very well in my relationships. Empowerment for all is recognising the divinity in every being as we each have a soul. And so each of our souls are all on the same level. No one is above, no one is below. We're all the same level. And they are all connected with the creation of all, and that makes us one. So we are all one. So starting with our thoughts, in the first session, we had that lovely different ways on how to uplift our thoughts, and I really recommend that you view that video if you get an opportunity. So we want to have thoughts of ourselves that are loving and supportive. And the thought that I thought would be the best one for us all to keep, because it seems to cover everything, is every thought, every cell and every atom of my being is filled with quantum light and healing energy. And so, would you like to say that silently to yourself? Every thought, every cell and every atom of my being is filled with quantum light and healing energy. Now I'd love you to say it just softly, all together. Every thought, every cell and every atom of my being is filled with quantum light and healing energy. How does that make you feel? Does that, tell me, does that resonate with inside? So let's do it one more time. We're going to do a quantum in-breath of allowing. And now we're going to say quite loud, every thought, every cell and every atom of my being is filled with quantum light and healing energy. And now let's just enjoy that. And does your body feel any different? Do you feel a little
Lighter.
You feel lighter? Thank you for sharing. What about, does it make any difference for you, Charlie, a little bit?
Well, yeah, because it was a bit chaotic this morning, wasn't it? Everything was going on, but I feel calmer. Less anxiety.
Oh, sorry, my darling. Well, we better do one more time for Charlie there. One more time for Charlie. Quantum in-breath of allowing. Every thought, every cell and every atom of my being is filled with quantum light and healing energy. And just allow that feeling to just quantum in-breath of allowing. Quantum in-breath of allowing. So automatic writing is a way that you can communicate with your higher self, and it's quite simple to do. Your higher self guidance is always for the highest good of all. Your higher self guidance is always for the highest good of all. So when you're doing automatic writing and there seems to be judgments and blame, you haven't tapped into your higher self. It's always loving overall. It doesn't mean that you do what other people want you to do, because no is a very important word. But when you're connected with your higher self, it is really for everyone's highest good. And so I know that you're a little bit shaky today. Perhaps Charlie could write for you. So the process is really, really easy, and I'm going to get you to do 2 exercises today. So we're going to say a prayer by Doreen Virtue and have a pen and paper ready. And when you get into some deeper issues, maybe some tissues are handy to have with you, just in case. So what you do is you say the prayer, and then you ask your question, and then you write what comes into your mind. And that's all you do. And don't judge the thoughts that come into your mind. Just allow yourself to write them down, even if they don't make any sense whatsoever, because sometimes they don't, but then all of a sudden a flow will take place. So these are when I practice automatic writing all the time, and these are some of the suggestions. This is what I do. So whenever I'm creating work, including this presentation, I say the prayer before I type on the computer. If I need guidance of any kind, and I have a little story to share later down the track, a couple of personal stories. Every time I'm writing my lists, which is planning my days, week, month and year, what must I focus my full attention on today? What do I need to complete this week? What are my ideal goals for this month and this year? So I use automatic writing all the time, and I highly recommend it with everything that you do, which is important. And so all it is you say the prayer beforehand. It's easy peasy. Easy peasy. So whenever I'm frustrated, angry and hurt, it comes in extremely handy for that. And so I ask how I can change. So this is where I find out what change I need to make. Because it's not about blaming other people or judging other people. It's about what can I do to love and look after myself? What are the actions that I should be doing? And sometimes it might be not to have anything to do with that person, or it might be spend more time with these people, or whatever your higher self guidance is, make sure that you listen to it, because magic will happen, I'm sure. So I use it for pretty well every question and every subject. I find it just amazing. Because it's always my intention to reach for the highest possible perspective. And so that's what I'm hoping to introduce to you all here today. Quantum in-breath of allowing. Every thought, every cell and every atom of my being is filled with quantum, light and healing energy. One more time. Every thought, every cell and every atom of my being is filled with quantum, light and healing energy. So this is the prayer for automatic writing. It comes from a beautiful lady by the name of Doreen Virtue. Dear God, all of my angels, masters, and all of my guides, masters, and all of my angels, I ask that you watch over this automatic writing session and ensure that everyone who comes through is a positive, loving being with a perfect divine guidance which I am ready for. Please boost my ability to clearly see, hear, conceptualize, and feel your divine communication. Please help me accurately receive these messages and bring forth those that will carry blessings to me and to anyone who may read them. It's a really beautiful prayer. I feel like it covers everything. Nothing missed out. So thank you so much, Doreen Virtue, for that. So I have the question. I've created a question for your wall, and I did ask Charlie, and I wonder if you have a notebook.
Yes,
and
Sharon, can you get there's a pile of JSC notebooks on the bookshelf?
Oh yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you so much for that. So what you're going to be doing is creating a list of what you would love to happen in the next 12 months. But you're going to say the prayer first and ask for a list that is for your highest good. And then we have another exercise after the break. So we're going to say the prayer and create a list of what we would love to have happen over the next 12 months. And then we'll say the prayer and write it down. So the idea is to create a divinely guided list of what you would love to have happen in the next 12 months. So beautiful. We've got some notepads. Thank you so much for that. Would you mind handing them around to everyone?
Just pass them down the line, guys.
Pass them down the line. Do we have any pens? Oh, here's pens. Beautiful. Here's some pens.
Yeah, you might need a couple. And take a couple. And
There's a heap of
ones
pens.
right. Yeah, you right, boss.
There you go, ladies. There you go. Pass them down as well.
Thank you so much.
Pens, paper.
Yeah, probably is.
It's not like oils make you sleep.
I just breathing.
Oh, you can swap. Yeah, you can swap.
Just breathing makes sense. I've got perfume on, that's probably why she's sneezing.
Beautiful. So we have a pen and we have a paper. So let's say the prayer now. Dear God, all of my angels, masters, and dear God, all of my guides, masters, and all of my angels, I ask that you watch over this automatic writing session and ensure that everyone who comes through is a positive, loving being with the perfect divine guidance which I am ready for. Please boost my ability to clearly see, hear, conceptualize, and feel your divine communication.
Sorry.
Please help me accurately receive these messages and bring forth those that will carry blessings to me and to anyone who may read them. And then after we've said the prayer, breathe in your quantum breath of allowing and write the list of what you would love to have happen for yourself in the next 12 months. So you've all prepared your list and you have that all in hand ready to go. So let's all do another quantum breath of in-breath of an allowing, quantum in-breath of allowing. Every thought, every cell, every atom of my being is filled with quantum light and healing energy. How does that feel? Good? Right, so you have your list in front of you. The next step is you're going to write a letter to yourself from your future 12-month view. And it's a bit like a diary entry, 12 months from now, sharing how excited you are about all the things that have happened for you during the year. Do you all understand the concept of that? So you're writing a letter to a diary entry 12 months from now, and you have your list of all the things that have happened, and you've written the things that are happening on the list that you've just written. So now's the time to write your letter. So I will get the prayer for you to say before you write your letter, actually, girls. Let's go back a bit. So before you start writing your letter, say the prayer. Dear God, all of my angels, masters, I keep saying that, all of my guides, masters, and all of my angels, I ask that you watch over this automatic writing session and ensure that everyone who comes through is a positive, loving being with the perfect divine guidance which I am ready for. Please boost my ability to clearly see, hear, conceptualize, and feel your divine communication. Please help me accurately receive these messages and bring forth those that will carry blessings to me and to anyone who may read them. And so, when you're ready, write your letter to yourself as if 12 months has passed and you're excited about all the things that have happened. And I'll pause the video.
You realise.
Jody, stop it.
All right, gorgeous ones. So you've written your letter to yourselves. Does everybody feel happy with their letters?
Yes.
And you've written it as if it's already happened, like a diary entry. I'm really excited. You're excited about what's to come.
And entries, I'll just share that because I did this with Robyn, it was a few months back, wasn't it? It was part
the
of
first one. The first
yeah.
one,
It's
yeah.
part of a hypnotherapy session, but it was a letter to myself. And I often find it, like, because I've got so many handbags, but I often, there's that letter. And I read it to myself, and it's really powerful. It is, because it makes you, reminds you, you know, your purpose, I think, as well. And, you know, where you would like to be, you know, in the near future. It does, yeah. It reminds, a gentle reminder. Yeah, so I still read mine.
Yeah, I did this when I first arrived in Mandurah. My husband and I travelled in a caravan. We lived in a caravan for 7 years, and we were travelling. We worked in different places. And when I arrived back in Mandurah, I decided to do this automatic writing thing, just to work out and do a future 12-month me letter to myself. And I wrote down a list of what I wanted, and we came to Mandurah particularly we have 2 little grandchildren that were born, which was a reason to establish ourselves back here. And also we had 2 investment properties, and one of them was looking really bad, and it truly needed to be renovated. So Shane and I decided to park the caravan in the yard and renovate this house. So this was 4 years ago. And so I didn't even know much about this particular house, but I decided to write to myself what I would love to happen in the next 12 months, as if it had already happened. And the points that I made was, I would love to be living in a house that is walking distance to the beach. I would love to be surrounded by really beautiful women. I would love to sell the caravan and replace it with a boat. There was another thing, but I can't remember what it is right now. And the house was just a nightmare of a house, and I had to work really hard in getting rid of weeds up here, got rid of all the weeds, and I was pulling out old curtains and pulling up yucky carpet, and there was rubble, and it was a big job. And all I was ever doing that year was I was driving to Bunnings and back, because my husband was working full time, so renovating was all up to me, and so I had to coordinate everything, and the whole house was completely being altered. And so then I found I was doing the digging, so I thought I'm going to have to improve my attitude here, because I was swearing. Because every time I went I hit a rock, yes, you know the area, so a swear word would follow. And so I had to change my attitude, so I created a dry riverbed out the front as a feature. So every time I went, oh good, another rock. And so when it came to painting the house, I was painting the ceiling on a pole night, and every stroke I went, love, 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 because before I was not loving it, but I thought love, love, and it did. It changed my attitude, and I started to fall in love with this house. And then on this one particular occasion, I was out the front doing some gardening out the front, and our dear neighbour over the road, we didn't really know anybody because I was so busy working, going Bunnings and back, Bunnings and back, Bunnings and back. And this man was out the front, and he said, look, you're doing a wonderful job at the garden, it looks really great. And I said, oh, thank you so much. He said, are you thinking of staying? And I said, oh no, I'd really like to be walking distance to the beach. And he said, you know, we're only 7 minutes walk away. I had no idea. And so this house that I thought was just a complete and utter nightmare, I was like, oh my God, you are looking even better than I even thought. And then, because there was so much drama with renovating a house, and skip out the front and rubbish everywhere, I knew that the neighbours would be inquisitive and they'd want to see what's inside. So what I did was I created an invite for Christmas. So I just handed the invite out to the immediate neighbours who I really didn't know at that point, and I invited them, and I said to them that they're welcome to invite any other neighbours that they would like to come join us. And so we ended up with a gathering, quite the gathering, because they all were keen as punch to see what we were doing inside the house. And what happened was, we all got on so well, all the women said, let's get together again, and we have a regular gathering. And so I found the letter just after 12 months, and I've gone all goosebumpy, and it we're 7 minutes from the, and that's right, I put on Gumtree, swap the caravan for a boat. We've got a boat, so we got a boat. I'm surrounded by a bunch of women that are just gorgeous, and we get together on a regular basis still. And we're walking distance to the beach in a home that I really love. I was like, oh my God! It was super cool. And so I'm really keen for you to really, I'm keen for you to use this because it's a really great idea. And just what it does, it lets the universe know what it is that you would love to have happen. Yeah.
You better put it out
It's
there.
being
Got to put it out there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. And sometimes we need to give them clarity because I know that in the past I've had a mind that's really been quite scattered and I didn't quite know what I wanted. And so the poor angels, they had no idea what to do for me. They were going, oh, this thought, or is it that thought, or is it that thought, or is it that thought? It's like, oh my goodness. They have to go through the scenario or the probability of every single idea that you have. So it's really great to streamline it so that they don't have such a difficult job. So that's my suggestion. So do automatic writing before you write the list so that you get a real clear perspective on what you would love to have happen in the next 12 months. And then write yourself the letter as if 12 months has passed, as if it's already done and how exciting it is and what a great year it was.
So would you do that like every year? Or just...
I haven't done it every year. I will have to admit that I haven't because I am on this path of clarity. I've got it. I feel like at the moment, but that doesn't mean that I won't soon. So I have to admit, no, it's not something that I do every year. But I had this real change in my life 4 years ago, and I really felt like I needed to sort of streamline what I truly wanted because a change was happening in front of me and I wasn't sure what direction. Were we going to stay in the caravan and move on again? Were we going to rent out the house or sell the house? I needed to grab clarity, and the automatic writing really helped me with my list. And then I turned it into a letter just as I've suggested with this exercise. And what that did was it gave the universe clarity on what I would truly love to have happen, and it manifested. Now that doesn't mean that everything that you create manifests, because sometimes it's not for your highest good. And it will only ever happen if it's for your highest good. And it will reveal itself down the track. It may in fact be better. So as long as it's for your highest good and you give the universe permission to give to you whatever you believe is for your highest good, it's a really great disclaimer. So then if it doesn't happen, you'll think, well, clearly it wasn't for my highest good, wasn't meant to be, but that's okay. And so you can start again with your next, do the automatic writing prayer, write a list for the next year. What would you love to have happen for the next year? It just helps with clarity. And it just feels kind of good, especially when you find the letter 12 months later. You think, oh my God, tick, 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 tick. Any better? Okay. So we've done very well. Oops, it's over here. This happens to me, doesn't it, from time to time?
So you can do it also just for short-term things
You
you're
can.
going through, not
You
just
can.
for anything.
Absolutely. I'm just about to, in fact, providing I learn how to use this thing, ask the question, we've done that. There we go, signal for refreshments. Yes, you're quite right. I'll share with you in a moment. So, now you have your letter and you have your list. You have a clear perspective on what it is that you would love to have happen in the next 12 months. Am I right?
Yeah.
You all have a clear perspective on what you would love to have happen. Now, use the automatic writing, just as you were just saying. You can, like, what actions do I need to take? From time to time, you can do the automatic writing prayer and write a list asking, what actions do I need to take in order for this to take place or in order for this to happen? Use the prayer for everything because it's so good. It's so supportive. Use the prayer, how can I achieve these actions? How can I achieve this? Please help me making sure that I'm doing the right timing for these actions. When you're facing obstacles, do the automatic prayer and ask, I'm facing this, what do I do next? How do I manage this situation? So consistently use the automatic writing prayer for everything. And I use it several times a day, depending on what it is I'm doing. If I'm on the weekend and I'm just having fun, then I don't do this sort of thing. But when I'm working, I use this prayer to ensure that I'm reaching for the highest perspective. And it just works so beautifully for me, and I truly hope that you embrace it to help yourselves. Yeah, so great for when you're facing obstacles. So what I've done is I've created a list of really great questions for you, which is in the book and of course in this particular video because it's running. So if you can't think of a question to ask or how to phrase a question, ask your higher self what are some questions which would serve you to ask. So that's a question that you can ask. So I'm giving you some question ideas. And so, are you facing a difficult situation? The question could be, ask your higher self for the ideal guidance and request help by bringing you the resources, ideas, connections, and everything that you need to handle it. You don't. Well, Charlie will print out the book for you if you have. But in any case, feel free to write it. Otherwise, take a photograph if you've got a camera. You've got a phone.
No, no.
It doesn't matter, darling. The next one is, do you have a responsibility which you have had in the past? I know. Do you have a responsibility which has become a burden to you? Ask yourself to show you a new vision of this area that allows you to either release this responsibility or find a more energizing way to fulfill it. So this information is available on the book, which is free, on the website, which you can refer to at any time. So I've got more questions. Loving yourself made easier. Ask your higher self, what is something simple that you can do right now to express more self-love in the way you take care of your body?
Good one.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We do a lot of the self-care work.
Yeah.
That's really important. Yeah.
Yeah. And so self-love can also come with giving to others. Ask your higher self what you can do for someone that truly empowers them. So that's my intention for today. This is what I've created so that it's something that I'm hoping that I have been able to create that truly empowers you. That is my full intention. Improving your home or your environment. Ask your higher self how you can change your environment so it better serves you. And so remember that all of these questions, you don't have to remember them, it's available for you. This one is a really neat trick. I use it all the time. If you have a problem with someone or keep blaming other people for your experiences, it is you who needs to change. Now, I found in the past, until I discovered automatic writing, how do I know what change I need to make was always the question. How do I know? And I used to panic over it. But now I know how to find out what change I need to make because I ask the question when I do automatic writing, and out comes these amazing letters. And so you can ask your higher self, how am I contributing to this situation? Because it's important to know how you have somehow caused this situation to happen. And then what change do I need to make to heal this situation? And so your higher self will tell you that information so beautifully if you ask when you say that automatic writing prayer and listen and then write what comes. So I'll tell you a little story. I always say this when I'm not really impressed with my husband. So it'll be a feeling inside because of something that has happened, and inevitably I feel like blaming him, but I know spiritually that there is no value because it only creates resistance on his side. So it's my responsibility to elevate me so that the situation is elevated around me. And so having that understanding truly helps, but I know a long time ago I didn't know what change I needed to make, and inevitably panic would follow. But now that I've got the automatic writing prayer, it makes such a difference. So what I do is I say the prayer and I express, this is how I'm feeling, how have I contributed, and words will follow. What change do I need to make, and words will follow. And in the prayer it says, and give blessings to anyone who reads them. Well, I always fold up the letter and hide it, right? I don't sort of let Shane see it, I just hide it. And but I keep it there because it's good advice that I have received, like, okay, I'm going to handle this situation this way, And it's the weirdest thing, but months later, Shane will come up to me and go, "Are you okay?" And I go, "Yeah." And he'll say, "I just saw this letter." He finds the letter. And but I've kind of got through it and worked through it, and that all happened months ago, and I've worked through it, and I feel fantastic again. And when he reads the letter, he feels a shift within him. He's not in the thick of the time when he's upset or angry. It's when things has passed, and he's seen the letter and go, "Oh, okay, I see that she handled that way." And so a shift, a blessing happened with him because he read it at the right time. Because I always ask for the right time. So I find it fabulous when it comes to dealing with relationships. When you've got a problem, speak to your higher self using the automatic writing prayer, and I promise you, your life will change completely and utterly as a result of you receiving the highest possible guidance. The success of the change that you desire in your life is determined by the change you choose to make. It's not determined by the other person. It's determined by the change that you choose to make. And so trust the guidance that you are given, act upon it, and then watch the magic happen. Because I promise you, magic will follow. It certainly has followed for me anyway. And so all of this information is all available to you. Do you want me to go back?
Yes, mate.
Sure.
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
All good? Quantum in-breath of allowing. Every thought, every cell and every atom of my being is filled with quantum light and healing energy. Every thought, every atom of my being is filled with quantum light and healing energy. And soak that up. So you can use automatic writing to help with healing grief. And I discovered the prayer from Doreen Virtue soon after both my parents had passed away. I was living in Broome at the time when my mother had passed. It was during the time that we were living in a caravan and travelling. And I didn't think that I was grieving necessarily. I thought I really had my emotions. I thought I was really quite in touch and I was feeling quite peaceful. But I just thought I'd like to have a conversation with Mum and Dad, so let's just give that a go. And so what I did was I sat down under our annex with a pen and paper, and then I had to quickly go get the tissues. And I went, "Are you there, Mum?" And I immediately felt her after saying the prayer. I immediately felt her. And I could hear it, and she was right there, and I could hear her in her voice, in my head. It was incredible. And we had this amazing conversation that went on and on. And then in the middle of the conversation, my phone rang. And it was a dear friend of mine that I knew that was going to need my love. And so I kind of said, "Hang on a sec, Mum. I'm just going to answer the phone." So I answered the phone, and it was a precious friend of mine who had been trying to have a baby for quite some time. She'd been going through the IVF process. And I suspected that this was her last chance, and I had the full suspicion that this was not going to work, and I knew what was coming. She would be in tears. So I answered the phone, and I was receiving the information of my dearest friend, devastated on the phone that there is just no hope, that she's never going to be able to have a baby. And so I gave her all of my love and all of my attention, and then eventually we ended the conversation. I'm back, Mum. That was my friend, and she knows my friend. She was alive when we were friends. Anyway, I said, she's been trying to have a baby, and I'm so devastated for her because she's just found out that she's unable to have one. And my mum said, there is a boy coming. And at the time, I thought, this is just impossible. It is impossible. It's just not possible. And so I just sort of said, oh, that'd be great, Mum. Then I sort of moved on. And then I called Dad in and had a chat to my dad, I had a very super cool dad. He was an adventurer. And here I was adventuring. And I asked him, are you coming with me on my travels, Dad? He said, yes, I'm there. For all the fun that you have, I'm right beside you, Rob. Then he added, by the way, because he's a show-off, he said, I also visit planets. And so I thought, you show off, Dad. So I gave him a little show-off. So thank you for sharing that you visit planets. I can't exactly do that, but that's okay. And do you know, my friend has a 5-year-old boy.
Oh, wow.
How beautiful. Wow.
Through a surrogate.
Oh, lovely.
And so it's helped me sort of feel confident that surrogacy is meant to be, because this little soul was waiting. My mum knew him. And they thought, oh, I'll go through this to get to there. So it opened my eyes to the spiritual element of surrogacy and feeling open about the process of that. And my friend was meant to have a little boy, and here she is. She and her husband have a 4-year-old boy, and he's a nightmare. And I keep telling, you asked for this. Don't spend a moment complaining to me. And I was like, what change do you need to make for you? So that's what helped me feel confident. The automatic process is genuine, because I would never have dreamt that this little boy was coming, but he came. And so it just helped me think, oh my God, this process, it's like for real. So it truly is for real. You are reaching for the higher part of you. So we have a conscious, a subconscious, and we have a superconscious, which I call your higher self, which is connected to the divine energy. And that's where this filters through after you've said the prayer, the automatic writing prayer. So honestly, guys, please feel confident that when you're saying that prayer, that it truly does help. Timelines. So sometimes, particularly, I'm not a particularly patient woman, and I think that things just take too damn long, quite frankly. And so I recently discovered this prayer, and I really thought that this is a prayer that would be helpful for us when we're in this process of writing what we would love to happen in the next 12 months. So, dear source of all creation, or dear God, whatever it is you choose to say, if there are any timelines which are no longer appropriate for me and not serving my path, please collapse those timelines so that the highest possible timelines present themselves to me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so if there's, for some reason, some timeline that's all entangled, that's not really working for you, you've just asked for the best one. We want the best timeline. Okay, the highest possible timeline. Okay. Has everybody got that? Everybody said that prayer, because we want that happening from this moment on. Do we need to repeat it one more time? I'm happy to.
Sure.
Give it one more go?
Yeah.
Because I want to make sure that we all walk away from here with the perfect timeline. Okay. So, dear God, source of all creation, the all that is, whatever you feel comfortable with, If there are any timelines which are no longer appropriate for me and not serving my path, please collapse those timelines so that the highest possible timelines present themselves to me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So that is my wish for you. So now we need to keep our vibrations high because we've written our beautiful letter 12 months from now. We want the next 12 months to work out smoothly, and so our responsibility is to feel good about ourselves. Our responsibility, the work is to keep our vibrations high. The work that nothing else matters than you feeling good. And you feeling good is you keeping your vibrations high. So it is my suggestion to do regular quantum in-breaths of allowing throughout your day. Quantum in-breath of allowing. Quantum in-breath of allowing. You don't have to, no one needs to know about it. Just go and say in your head, quantum in-breath of allowing, quantum in-breath of allowing. Followed with, and memorize it. Do memorize it if you can. Every thought, every cell, and every atom of my being is filled with quantum light and healing energy. It's only if you wish to. It's just a suggestion. But I know, what I did was I made sure that everything was in it. So verbalizing only the good news of your day, sometimes that can be tricky because you can have a really difficult day. But do your best when you're sharing with people to just share the good bits and focus on the good bits. Focus on what you're grateful for, and meditate daily. And I've given you the gift of the meditations, which are less than 10 minutes long, and we can put them, as I said, as a little shortcut, so it's easy peasy to access them. And that's all on my website, just down here. So Higher Communications is the name of the meditation program of the first module you're all receiving. So what that does is it builds your power base and amplifies your light when you go through these practices. The stronger the light is within you, the more powerful you become. And that is my hope for you. A lot of my masters are wisdom. My masters are Oren. A master means teacher. Oren and Abraham. Abraham Hicks is the website for Abraham's information, and Oren is orendeben.com. So I've learnt so much from these guys, just from meditations and listening to YouTube. Do listen to their YouTubes because it's fantastic stuff. And so I wished to honour them. And that's it. That's my
Thank you, Robyn.
Thank
program
you.
today. I hope you all enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was
Yes,
lovely.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
That's great. I'm pleased to hear.